guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Victoria and I am so excited for today's tutorial because it is my first holiday themed look. For the first holiday look, I decided to do Hanukkah because it comes first, and also because I noticed there are hardly any Hanukkah themed makeup looks on YouTube or in general, not on Pinterest, Instagram, really not a lot of examples of how you could do your makeup for like a Hanukkah party or for like each night of Hanukkah when you're celebrating with your family. So I decided to create this look for anybody that celebrates Hanukkah, and I used the Kat Von D Metal Matte palette. This is actually no longer available. It was a holiday palette 2 years ago, I believe. So I have a couple options that you can use instead. This is the Smashbox Cover Shop palette, the Bold Eye palette, and there is a gorgeous blue matte shade in there, so you could use that, and then there's a sparkly blue right here that you could use as the lid color, and then you can just dip into your collection and use any silver or gold shadow that you have to do the halo, and also dip in for any like matte browns to use as like the transition shade or in your crease or whatever. Another option is the Huda Beauty Obsession palettes. This one isn't a blue one. This one is actually has like all these cranberry shades in here, but she has ones just like this that look identical, and they have blues in them, greens in them. You can just look at all the palettes, and she has two different ones with blues in them. One I think is called like the Sapphire Obsessions or something like that, or she also has like a Bolds palette, which is all just bright colors, very similar to this Smashbox one. So those are two different options that you can use if you don't have the Kat Von D palette. And yeah, that's about it. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Happy Hanukkah, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. To start out and prime the skin today, I'm using this little baby sample I got of the Dr. Brandt Pores No More Luminizer Primer. This is my first time trying it. I don't think it blurs your pores at all, really, and I don't think it's luminizing either, but it did help my makeup last a really long time, but I don't think it's worth the price because it's actually really expensive. So unless you have a little sample, I don't recommend it. Then for foundation, I used the Dior Nude Air Foundation. This is a light coverage foundation, and it has the most amazing texture. It feels like you're applying like powder to your face once it starts drying. I really, really like it. Then I'm taking the Ulta Beauty Full Coverage Concealer. Since I did use a light coverage foundation, I am applying this to all the parts of my face I want to highlight. So under the eyes, a little bit on the bridge of the nose, the chin, and a little bit on the forehead. I don't usually apply as thick of amount of concealer under my eyes, but since, like I said, it was a light coverage foundation, I applied a little extra. Then I'm just blending this out with a brush, and I just love this concealer. I highly recommend it. Then I'm setting all the parts of my face I put concealer with the Fiona Styles loose powder mixed with a little Kat Von D. And we're applying a heavy amount of that so that we can bake under our eyes and also catch all the fallout from the blue shadows we're going to be going in with. We're taking the Kat Von D Metal Matte palette. It is this stunning, gorgeous holiday palette she came out with a couple years ago. There's so many gorgeous colors in it. I'm obsessed. I'm taking the light yellow shade called Feather and mixing that with this light cool toned brown shade called Suede. And I'm taking that on a fluffy blending brush, and we are taking this super high up next to the eyebrow. We're also taking it pretty deep in towards the nose, and then we are also taking it out pretty far towards the eyebrow, and then we're positioning the brush upwards and kind of flicking it out at the outer corner of the eye. You want to just take your time building up your transition shade. Use shades that are similar to your skin tone that look almost like they're not there. So you just want to be able to barely get a hint of these colors, and these are going to help the blue shadow from going too high. Next, I'm taking the dark brown shade Oak and mixing it with that gray called Stone. The reason I mixed a little gray into the brown was so that it would be more cool toned, because blue obviously is a cool toned color, so I wanted the whole look to be cohesive. And I'm just applying a little bit on with a more small blending brush right into the crease, and then I go back with a fluffier blending brush and focus on blending it out. And this is just to give a little dimension and definition to the crease. Then I'm taking Velour, which is this gorgeous dark blue shade. It looks a little bit brighter on camera than it is in real life. It's more like dark and a little bit almost navyish toned. And then I'm taking that on a tapered blending brush right on the tip of the brush at first. And I'm just blending that onto the outer corner and taking it a little bit into the crease. What you're doing right now is just really mapping out where the shadow is going to be and just starting it out as a base, like basically a stencil. Don't go in with a ton of this product at first, or it's all just going to fall down onto your face and it's just going to be everywhere, all over your eye, and it's not going to create the halo effect we're trying to achieve here. Then I take a tiny bit of the product on the inner corner as well. I'm making sure not to go too close to my tear duct or too close to the side of my nose, or the kickback from the brush will fling blue shadow onto your nose, and then your eyeshadow job will just look so sloppy. It will not look clean at all, and you're not going to have a really blended effect if you do that. Now that we have the whole outline done, I go back in and on the side of the brush, I pick up a bunch of the blue shade and I start just building up the intensity. So I'm just putting it exactly where we placed it before, but just taking my time and building up the dark blue color. Next, we are going in with the shade Nebula, which is identical except it is a foiled glittery shade. So it's super sparkly. It is one of the most gorgeous blues I've ever used in my whole entire life. And I wet my brush with MAC Fix Plus so that I could more easily define my eyelid. So I just pat this blue shadow on, taking my time and really sculpting out the eyelid. This is going to be the base for the halo eyes, so you need to really make sure you have that round circular shape. Then I took my blending brush again and I just went over the edges just to again make sure everything is super smooth and gorgeous. Next, I'm taking this orangey gold color called Flash, and I wet this color as well, and I'm applying that in the center to create the halo eye. I wanted this to be like the flame of a candle on a menorah, so I start with this nice gold orangey kind of flame color, and I build that up in the center of the eye, and then I go in with the shade Tinsel, which is this gorgeous silver color, so that it would be like a flame, as a, it's a little darker at the base but then like lighter in the center, just to give that really beautiful glistening fire effect. Tinsel is my favorite shade in that whole entire palette. It is just so gorgeous. Then I'm taking the Makeup Revolution highlighting palette, and I'm just taking some of that super bright white highlighter shade right there, and I'm just using this as my brow bone highlight because I wanted a super icy white highlight, and I felt like using something other than MAC Nylon just to give you guys some different options. Now I'm brushing off all that powder we applied earlier, and this is going to brush away all the fallout that happened from the blue eyeshadow and from the other sparkly shades. Really take your time getting rid of all that extra powder you put on your face because you don't want it to build up or be chunky, or when you set your face, you don't want it to like bubble up or anything. So make sure you really get all that powder off. Then I'm just filling in my eyebrows with Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer in the shade Taupe. Then I am going to apply false lashes. These are the style Black Magic by Violet Voss, and I'm using the Duo Brush On Adhesive. And I'm just showing you how I brush on a little bit of glue onto the lash. I make sure I get glue on the inner and outer corner of the lash, and then I just blow on it a little bit to make the glue tacky. I've already worn these lashes a few times, so I can use my fingers to just pop them on for the first part because they're just used to the shape of my eye. So I'm also just grabbing my mirror real quick so that I can actually see what I'm doing. I usually apply my lashes off camera, but so I forgot to put on mascara, but put on mascara first. And so I just take the lash and I just start pressing it into my lash line. I'm getting it really nice and close. And a tip is to look down into the mirror. So you see how my face is really angled downward? That's so I can actually see my lash line. Once I get the lash on my eye, I then take my tweezers, be very careful with this, and I press the inner corner really tightly into my lash line where I want it to sit. And I hold it there for like 2 or 3 seconds to really give the glue the right amount of time to really dry so that my inner corner doesn't pop off. And then I just do the same and go over the eye, really just pressing the lash super, super close to my eyelid. It's literally touching right where your eyelashes and your eyelid meet. That's where you want to apply your lashes. Then for the lower lash line, I'm just going back in with that yellow and light brown shade, blending this out everywhere just as a base for my lower lash line. You need to start slow and gradually build up the same colors on the bottom that you put on the top so that it looks cohesive. I then take the dark brown mixed with a little bit of gray on a blending brush, and I just press that close to the lash line and blend it out all under there just to give more dimension. Then on a flat definer brush, I take the blue shade and I press this really close to the lower lash line. Um, the reason you want to do this with a definer brush is so that it doesn't get messy and fall everywhere. You want to just stamp the color down first, and then you want to go over with a blending brush just to mesh all the three colors together and make it all cohesive and beautiful. And then I'm taking the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil Bronzer, and I'm just bronzing up my forehead and also taking that onto my cheekbones. This is a gorgeous light bronzer. Then I'm going in with the normal Chocolate Soleil Bronzer, and I take less of this and I place it more precisely right there in the hollows of my cheeks. I love bronzing and contouring with two different shades. It'll just look so gorgeous, and it will have just so many more layers and looks so much more glam. So I highly suggest you try bronzing with two different shades. I'm sure you will love the effect. It's gorgeous. Then I'm taking the Sephora Collection Winter Flush Blush Palette, and I'm mixing the pink shade and that peachy shade right there. And I'm just blushing up my cheeks just to give them a nice rosy, holly jolly hue. I really love this blush palette. It's super affordable and gorgeous. Then I'm going back in with the Makeup Revolution highlighter palette, and I'm taking that white shade and mixing it with a little bit of the gold. Look at that glow. How insane is that? This is a stunning highlight powder. All of the colors in it are super luminous, super gorgeous. There's no glitter in it. And this is actually also super, super affordable. They have two separate versions. There's this one, which I have. It's more geared towards like light to medium skin tone. Then they have one with deeper colors for medium to deep skin tone. So I think they are gorgeous. No matter your skin color, you should definitely pick up one of these palettes, and actually even both, because if you mix the shades, they're actually quite versatile and can be used for anybody. Then I just took that shade as well, the light one, and I put that in my inner corner. Then for a Hanukkah little twist, I took the Anastasia Beverly Hills Aurora Glow Kit, and I take the blue shade Orion, and I'm just applying that on top of my highlight just to give it a nice blue sheen, just to stick with the blue and white theme of Hanukkah. Then I'm using two lip products today. First, I'm taking the Too Faced Melted Matte Liquid Lipstick in the shade Sugar Cookie. This comes in a set of like four little mini liquid lipsticks. You can only get them in the set, but it is a gorgeous warm nude shade. I think it is so gorgeous. Then I'm applying the Buxom Lip Gloss in the shade Sugar on top of it, which has a little bit of micro glitter, but you won't feel it or anything. They're gorgeous glosses, and I love them so much. And that is the finished look. So happy Hanukkah. I would love to see if anybody recreates this look, and until next time, bye.